welcome back to the Backlog Boys podcast at the cinema. Here with me, as always, the precious baby sacred deer himself, Samuel.
Hello.
We have the most beautiful hands, Alexander.
Yo. I feel like you should have reversed that.
Yeah.
I'm the one with the long hair. Sam's the one with like actual good hands.
Yeah, like I moisturize a lot.
But he's like a little baby looking though.
Nice.
He's the hairiest one out of all of us.
Aren't I the youngest though?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I said
what
baby deer.
I'm the baby of the
I mean,
podcast.
There's also a point where like they talk about him being hairy, and
Oh yeah.
Sam's pretty hairy.
Oh, spoilers. And speaking of spoilers, there's also me, wheelchair-bound Omar. Don't worry, all of this will make some sense later.
Some.
And we're back watching To Kill... Is it kill? No, I think it's just called Killing a Sacred Deer.
Killing of a
To
sacred
kill
deer.
Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yes.
I always, every time I think about it, like I always think it's like... It's one of those names where like you think there are more words in it than there actually are, but in reality it's just like
Yeah.
a simple name. But this movie... 2017 classic. I think we've watched a lot of 2017 movies.
Yeah.
Like Blade Runner, Lady Bird, this.
Yeah.
And they're all around like I think the same time it was released as well, which is I
When
think
was
is funny.
Swiss Army Man?
It's
it
like
also-
14. No,
Oh,
it's
no,
probably
okay, that was
14.
before.
Yeah, that was a while back.
But here I got some notes over here.
Oh, okay.
You can't tell, but I'm slowly turning.
We
To
got a
my
new
notes.
setup here.
We say new setup. I'm missing a chair now.
I feel more comfortable.
Yeah, we're not cramped up.
I know
next
why
to
you
each
like
other.
the spot, Omar.
Yeah, that's where my ass is normal. That's why it's so comfortable.
I thought you said where Sam sits.
No, naturally I sit where you sit.
Thanks.
But this is pointless.
Yeah, whatever.
No one can see this. This is audio only. It doesn't matter.
Oh, well, tell us some facts.
All right. These names, I swear, these are like people who made, the guy who made this is like Greek, so I apologize for the name.
Okay.
So the director is Yorgos Lanthimos. He made like The Lobster. I don't know if you heard of those movies.
Mhm.
I've
Lobster,
heard of it. I haven't seen it though.
The Favorite. Movies I want to watch, but after watching this,
I
don't
really
know.
want to see The Lobster.
Yeah, I do. I still really want to watch that movie.
Yeah.
That came up. That was a movie before this. Movie.
Even after watching this?
Yes, because I think it was The Lobster. Then you made this.
Yeah.
So it was co-written and produced by him as well, and another guy. Oh God, Epiphanes Philippo.
Yes.
Please believe me that
That's
I know how to read. But I thought it was so weird. I looked up I couldn't find the budget for this
Really?
movie at all. I looked it up and it's like, and then again I was like surface level researching, but honestly, like it should, if it doesn't pop up immediately, that's like
That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. So I couldn't really like figure out if it made no money.
So
or
you
not.
can't find out if it's a flop or not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
they-
I have the box office though. That's about
Okay.
it.
Well, they probably just like didn't want it. They spent so much money on Colin Farrell that they're just like.
I feel like Colin Farrell would, because he's already worked with this guy before.
That's
I
true.
think he probably would be like, I'm not gonna do
It
that.
was
much.
also an A24 film, so they're like
Oh, yeah.
not released like
Yeah,
worldwide.
because I looked. Like,
Yeah.
There wasn't that many theaters that had.
Yeah.
I think like
Yeah.
the first like 3 weeks it was like maybe like 30 theaters,
Hmm.
and then I think by the fifth one it was like 200 or something like that.
Okay.
So it wasn't like that many places, which I think reflected the box office. It was just it's just $7 million.
Okay.
Dollars.
Well, I don't remember seeing. I remember seeing. We're talking about like movies from 2017. I remember seeing ads for Lady Bird. I remember seeing stuff for Blade Runner. I have never heard of this movie until now. Like I was aware of The Lobster just from like people talking about it online.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, I think movies from this director are kind of like more like under the radar. Like you got to know about movies to know about this one. You know.
I just had like a whole bunch of friends recommend this movie to me.
They went. Alex, you remind me of the man from The Killing of the Sacred Deer.
dude.
Which one? I'll let you find out. I think for me, when I was watching it, I remembered I've seen trailers for this movie.
Really?
Yeah, I did remember because I recognized Colin Farrell's like beard in it. I remember seeing trailers. I've seen trailers for The Lobster as well.
I feel I know for The Lobster at least I've seen it like on like Blu-ray trailers. Like you pop in a Blu-ray, it's like coming soon to
It's like
DVD.
99. Like,
Yeah,
that's how you see your trailers. now?
that's where I've seen The Lobster. I can't remember what film it was, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's how Alex sees trailers. Now he doesn't go look them up on YouTube.
Oh,
He
yeah,
finds
no.
the Blu-ray that
Yeah.
it came from, and then watches that.
I'm gonna pop each one in to see which one I saw The Lobster in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was weird because I think that was like the time where like I was getting YouTube, like I was watching YouTube and like I'd get A24 movie commercials all the time.
Yeah.
But I was just constantly confused. I've never heard of them. outside of like the YouTube commercials I've seen.
Yeah.
It's like I've never seen advertisement anywhere else. And when you go to the movie theater, you like they show trailers. I've never seen any of these trailers. 'Cause I think A24 wasn't as big back.
No.
Because I remember the Lobster trailer. I was like, what is that, 2015?
No,
I think.
they're definitely
So, like,
bigger now.
Yeah, bigger. They're
Yeah.
bigger, definitely bigger now. But like back then, I think like they only had like probably like those small commercials. And
Well, back then they needed like a big name to carry it. Like we mentioned, Swiss Army Man. That's an A24 film from before, like 2014. You think you said? And I do remember seeing ads, but I think it's only because it was Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano.
Yeah.
even then, I don't think Paul Dano's even that like a famous of any. I think Radcliffe's probably the more famous of the
Yeah,
two.
for sure. Or
And
like
this one has Colin
He was
Farrell.
definitely the face of that movie.
yeah, Colin Farrell's one of those actors that I think is really good, but I don't think he gets the credit or the prestige that a lot of other actors get. You know,
He's probably not labeled as like a top name actor, like a star kind
Yeah.
of thing, like where you put like a AAA movie.
Yeah,
he's the main
not
character.
DiCaprio big.
yeah, exactly.
But I think he's like maybe not as talented, but like he's
pretty
that
talented.
level. He's I think he's incredibly talented.
Pretty good.
Yeah, he's
And
in
if you
the
can't
upper
tell-
echelon. Yeah,
He's the main character.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking
Yeah.
about. We're not talking about it for no reason.
yeah.
This movie, I think I mentioned 2017. It came out, and they released it in like the UK and Ireland as well, like a month later. 'Cause it came out October 20th
Mhm.
for us, and then in,
Mhm.
like November 3rd in Ireland and like the UK, which makes sense, Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like Greek or whatever, so they're basically the same. I think this movie, a lot of the stuff I have to say, I like not the like the facts and all that. Maybe have to be like spoilers.
Yeah.
So I only have like one small stats and fact. Well, what's all that?
yeah.
I'm changing the name every time too.
Sure.
It premiered in the. I hope I hate pronouncing things. Cannes Film Festival. Did I say that right?
I did read about that. Yeah, it's like Cannes or Cannes. It's
Can-
like a French thing. I
Yeah, it's a
think.
French thing.
Yeah.
In May 2017, and then they won the best screenplay
Oh, did they?
in the festival or whatever. Him and the other guy.
Oh, that must make you upset, Omar.
Filippo. Me? Kind of. Yes.
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know what the other nominees were.
That's true.
So like, watch them just be all ass or something. Like,
I mean, from what I read, I've read an article that was like films that have premiered at Cannes or Canes or whatever. Raising Canes, that's what it is.
yes.
No.
And a lot of them are movies like are smaller movies that I haven't heard of, but then there's some bigger ones, so it's like a weird mix. I think it's just a general like bring whatever you want and we'll watch it kind of
And then
thing.
we'll say if it's good or not.
Yeah.
I think totally random because I'm just remembering this. I think that one movie, Call Me by My Name. I think it might also been there.
That
'Cause I,
makes
'cause
sense.
I think it's mostly foreign films because it's a French
Yeah.
film festival. So usually it's like foreign directors and all that go over there.
Like I can't imagine Zack Snyder or like
I gotta show the Justice League my director's cut. In the They're gonna be like,
or
how long
Michael
is this?
Bay like showing up and he's like, guys, we gotta watch Transformers, guys, come on.
Put Fast 9.
Oh my god.
Like that's not the scene generally for those movies.
But let's actually talk about this bad boy. I
Let's
think we
do it.
mentioned obviously Colin Farrell is the main character. I hope Alex here. Oh, I forgot. Maybe actually, Alex, you have a summary of this movie.
I do.
Before we we go deeper in the movie.
This is one of my picks, so I wrote a little summary for us.
Yeah.
So, The Killing of the Sacred Deer stars Colin Farrell, who plays a cardiovascular doctor
Glad
named
you can read that,
Steven.
I can never read
named
that.
Steven, and Barry. How do you say his name? Keoghan?
I thought it was like Cohegan or
Cohegan.
I don't know.
I'm tired of saying names. I'm not gonna be
Barry.
part of this.
It stars Barry, the new Joker,
Yeah.
who plays Martin, a teenager that seems to want to insert his life into Steven's life. And like any other A24 movie, this movie like halfway through introduces a little gimmick that spices up the story a bit.
For sure.
A little bit. I don't know what that is. A lot. But yeah. So the other guy, Barry, he's basically like the second
Yes.
main character. Even though there was a chunk of time where he's not even in the movie after a while.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's just gone.
He's
after.
kind of gone after that third act.
Yeah, it's like he's kind of barely present. But I think that guy, I think the first movie I saw him in was Dunkirk.
Okay.
He's in Dunkirk. He's like I think he's like one of like is he the French kid? I don't remember. But yeah, he's in a lot of obviously more things now than he was back then.
He's definitely.
And, I mean, Eternals and Batman and all that.
Yeah.
But I think his performance. I think this is so weird to me. I think this movie, I'm not blaming the actors, but I think the acting is bad.
Yo, yeah.
Oh,
Because it's like I think it's the dialogue.
I think the beginning definitely starts out kind of like weird, wonky, but it gets better towards the end of the movie.
When I was watching the movie, I wanted to describe it as like what your homework things dialogue is like. They're like, I brought you flowers. Oh, thank you for the flowers.
So
Yeah.
like
Oh,
that's
what did you think about the roses? Oh, I think they're lovely.
I
Like that's
think-
come in. It's like,
Let me tell you something. I got mad Silent Hill vibes from that because I like those games and they definitely have some stilted ass dialogue. And I was like, oh, they're doing that. Like they're doing that thing, and they might have been, but I mean, you mentioned this guy's Greek. Maybe he just doesn't like. Maybe it sounds better when he wrote it originally.
I
in
think
his
he writes it
language.
in English because like, I mean,
Okay.
Colin Farrell was in Greek.
But
But
English probably isn't his first language, so he's just like, this is.
I mean,
how-
this isn't his
is how
first movie
Americans
he's
talk.
made. I feel like he's made a lot of movies before this.
Yeah, but it just seems like such a weird like choice. It has to be intentional, right?
I think there's a deer trying to get in here. So I did. So that guy, I think it's all of our first movie of this guy's.
Yeah,
I hope that isn't
probably.
It's probably gonna get.
Yeah. But like he's known for like that's kind of like how he writes like this stuff that like almost makes you like borderline uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Where like this world is like cold.
Mm-hmm.
Where like that's not the real world. This world isn't the real world, obviously for some stuff. But like even if you remove like the twist stuff, this world isn't a real world.
Yeah.
Where the way how these like people interact with each other, like every interaction is almost like you give me something, I give you something.
Yeah.
Like there is an exchange of some sort in this world.
Yeah.
I think that's what this whole movie's based off of. Like there is no conversation that's a normal.
Mm-hmm.
There always is something to a conversation, not in a deep way,
the
but like in a
movies-
literal way.
I think the movie's just constantly trying to build up suspense, and it does that with the music too.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what the dialogue is trying to do, keep you on edge. Like, oh, what are they gonna do?
It's just like adding more and more tension throughout the
It's-
film through the way it's shot, through the dialogue, everything. But I was at some point I was waiting because everyone was talking in this weird way, and I was just waiting for the one character who's like normal because I thought that it'd either
Me
be
too.
funny.
I was
but it'd be
waiting
like,
for something. Someone just snapped and be like, "What the hell's wrong with you, Peter?"
yeah, or like
Yeah.
it's just a background character who's like a normal guy. But no, it's all like that, and it's not. I wouldn't say it's bad acting because it's like they're doing it the way they're supposed to be. It's not like they're like deadpan reading it, taking the first take. Although there were times where we've mentioned that what's his name? Why am I
Colin
blanking
Farrell?
out? Colin Farrell. Yeah, Colin Farrell is Irish, right?
Yes.
And there were times where I could hear his accent coming through, and I was like, oh well, it seems like they didn't really, because this is set in the U.S. obviously, so there's no reason this guy would have an Irish accent.
Mhm.
And I think Billy Keoghan is also Irish, or he's from the U.K. And there were times where I felt like his lines would have like the accent too. Is he Irish?
He's Irish.
Cool.
Okay.
Barry. You said Billy.
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 The B man. But yeah, there were times where I could feel their accent coming through. So then that was like, oh, maybe this isn't that intentional. Like I couldn't tell. Like it felt really weird sometimes.
Yeah, in the beginning of the movie, I was very like, "Where is this set?" Because like obviously Colin Farrell's like he's just Irish. Like he's not doing an American accent.
Yeah.
And then like Barry, like there were times where I'm like, I didn't know what the hell like he was supposed to be like. Not like character, like as in like where is he from? Like is he American or is he like Irish? Because like there were times where his accent comes in.
Yeah.
Was
And
that
then
his accent?
Like I mean that's what me it sounded like.
I thought
Like
he just.
it was like he wasn't doing
I
American.
thought he was
the
just
whole
trying to
time.
imitate like a child.
No, I
I don't know. His
That's what I thought.
his voice was like confusing to me.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, what are you supposed to be like Irish, like American, or like it was weird to me.
because he's playing a 16-year-old. I thought he was just trying to like play like a like.
Well, I mean, 16-year-olds, your balls already dropped. So like,
I know.
he's not a child.
He's
anymore.
also like Colin Farrell's character says that like he has some like mental problems too. So I just thought he was like a little like on the spectrum.
Yeah. Well, like it's different because it's like this is just like a change in tone of his voice. Like it's not.
Yeah, it's not like it's like it breaks his character. It's just like a.
Yeah. It's
Just
just like
me for internally. I'm just like, what is this? What is this?
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense to bring it up when we're talking about the dialogue and
Yeah.
the delivery, because there are scenes where the acting is really good.
That's why I don't blame the actors. Like there are scenes, especially in like in the later half of the movie, they're like
movie's-
well
Yeah,
acted.
this movie's full of like great actors.
It's just that like, especially the first half, it's just like it just feels so like robotic and but not in like a, but like everyone is not just Colin's character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Colin's character, it makes the most sense. We'll probably talk about it like spoilers from. I'll talk about it maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But and I get that the world is supposed to be this like cold, like exchange for an exchange, like conversations are for purpose, not for like for fun or whatever.
Mhm.
That doesn't make the movie like more enjoyable. Honestly, I think I messaged both of them maybe like halfway in. I was like before the twist, and I was like, this is boring.
Yeah.
Like I don't like this movie. And I messaged them like I think 20 minutes before the movie's over, and I'm like, I did not like this movie. Like I'm not liking this movie at all.
Yeah, I feel like this is almost like two different movies. There's like two halves. The first half
like
before the A24 twist. Yeah, I guess. Before the A24 twist, it's like it's set up one way, and then like either I got so used to the acting that in the second half I didn't mind it as much, or like it just was totally different. Like I mean the subject matter is totally different once the A24 comes in.
I feel like that part, the second half of the movie, is also like better written.
Yeah, it's much more like because in the first half I'm just like, where is this going? Like, what's going on? I was really confused about a lot of stuff, and then the second half is just like, all right, this is clear. What's happening here? Except for a couple things, but I mean, I don't know. It just felt kind of.
It felt a little too long. That first half could have been shortened. Way
the movie's definitely like longer than it should be.
Yeah,
I think for me, like the beginning half, like when you look up the movie, like I think sometimes it's like labeled as like horror.
Yeah.
And other time you look at a movie, it's like a different like. There's always different like tags, and I'm always like, what is this tag?
I'd say this would be like a psychological.
It's definitely not a horror.
Psychological thriller.
I've heard like thriller, suspense movie, black comedy,
mystery.
which I don't see black comedy. I mean, like there is like one or two scenes that I was like I kind of chuckled at because I was like, this is ridiculous, but yeah.
I'll bring that point back up with the whole black comedy thing, but because I'm like a scaredy cat, like. And I get scared more of the anticipation than the actual thing. Like if I watch a scary trailer, it can be like the worst, like most generic jump scare, and I'll still be scared because the build up, like I'm like, it's coming. And then when it comes, I'm like, pause. And then I'm like, oh, like I get scared. But then if I watch it again, I feel nothing because I already know what's coming up. So me in this movie, like especially with the music, like it builds up. My heart was like, oh, what's something? It has to be weird.
This was a whole roller coaster for you.
So then like once the twist came in, I was kind of like let down because I'm like, oh, this isn't like scary.
Okay,
like, this isn't gonna be like a horror thing.
Yeah,
like at least not in the traditional horror sense where like there's monsters or demons or something like that. It's more of like not even like jump scares. There's almost no jump scares in this.
No,
but Sam brought up like the black comedy. I guess the guy I'm not gonna keep pronouncing his name. The director.
Yeah.
Like he wrote this as a comedy.
What?
Like a black comedy. Like this is to him is funny apparently.
Okay.
Like he sees this as like funny.
Okay.
Like the way these people interact, the way like the certain stuff happens.
Maybe
like
that's
this is to him is funny.
So, weird.
So like that's like might be a thing as well where like how he views this as a more of a comedy than anything else, even though it's like labeled as a thriller, mystery, like horror for some people. Like he's like, this is funny.
I don't know. I think that's just him saying shit.
Yeah,
like, I can't imagine he wrote this movie and then was like,
me thinking about it, I get it. I think I get what he's like, what he sees as funny in it.
Okay.
Because the way I'm like, I learn more about the, and not that he's a terrible person or like he's a fucked up dude. Like I just think I get where he's coming from with the whole comedy thing or whatever.
Sure.
We'll probably talk more about that in the spoiler.
I don't know. I feel like because there's a scene where he's just a beautiful shot scene where they're riding the bike, and I'm just like, no, how is that gonna fit in a comedy movie?
Well, not every, like not every, but like the whole thing's not like a balls to the walls laughter. When you make a
comedy movie, it's like it's all comedy.
I think
this has some like good scenes in there.
I think by comedy, I think Sam, I've probably cut out the word black comedy. Like it's a dark comedy. Like it's not like your hangovers or anything like that. Like, this is like more of like a dark comedy more than anything.
Yeah, like I think I didn't understand black comedies for the longest time. I think the first one I saw was some movie called like On Thin Ice.
No, never heard
and it's like it's just about like an insurance like a health insurance dude who comes to this guy's house and the guy dies and he's trying to like claim he's trying to claim the insurance money. And it's like wacky shenanigans about trying to claim someone's life insurance.
See, that sounds like a black comedy.
Like that's what I saw, and I didn't know how to feel about after the movie because I was just like, what is this? Like, this is a different kind of thing, because it is funny stuff, but it's like trying to take it kind of seriously in the sense like, I don't know. I guess that is just what black comedies are like. They're showing you ridiculous scenes, but they take them kind of seriously.
It's also like it's a thing that's normally serious, but you're making it ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like in that case, it'd be like that some guy's dead. It's like, oh, let's make jokes about like wacky stuff about like this guy who's dead, his life is over, and like let's get his insurance thing. Yeah.
You know.
But I guess Barry's character does kind of say some, I guess.
I think his character is probably like the centerfold of the comedy,
sure,
in the aspect of like the things he says. and the way he says it. I think, especially in this kind of world,
especially in that second half.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was, because I was like, I can't think of anything else. There was one thing, and I wonder, do you guys recognize the kid actor? Because Colin Farrell has 2 kids, and one of the has a young boy.
Is that one of his kids?
What?
Is that one of
Like his real life kids?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Okay.
no. The boy looks familiar though. Bob was his name?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bob. Well,
Bob.
Robert is his real name, but they call him Bob.
I'm calling him Bob.
Okay, I know I'm gonna be wrong, but the whole time I just kept thinking he's not Finn Wolfhard, is he? He looks like a
so
he looks
wrong.
like a
There's so
young
many
Finn
ways.
Wolfhard.
He could be a young foot.
Like his hair.
Like Stranger Things 1 Finn Wolfhard. That's what he reminded me of.
Such a bad
He looks a little
guess.
younger than that. But what about him? What else is he in? He looks familiar.
So I'll give you one hint, and see if you can guess if you know who he's from though. He's in a thing where he's most known for being called as Boy.
Yeah, he's Atreus from God of War, right?
Yes.
Oh wow.
I didn't know. I don't know his name, so I was just gonna hope you said it right. I was gonna call him Artemis, but I'm like,
I know
isn't that
his
someone
name.
else?
You shut up, Alex.
Yes, he plays the kid. The
You
boy.
know what? That does look like his facial structure looks familiar. Like that's probably it.
And then I think he's in something called like mid '90s or whatever.
Yeah.
The Seth Rogen, not the Seth Rogen.
You know what?
Jonah Hill movie. Sorry.
I
Same
remember
person.
why. I recognize his face. It's because of that Game Awards when he showed up and he
Yeah,
read the award. That's why I'm immediately it's all clicking into place now. It's weird.
And,
So it's not Finn Wolfhard.
No, it's
No.
not Finn Wolfhard.
It's not baby Finn Wolfhard.
And I think Nicole Kidman is the wife character.
Yes.
She is one of those actors that I recognize the name, but I can't remember for the life of me anything she's in.
I watched like just recently. It's called The Northman.
Oh, okay.
Another weird movie. That movie's great though, and she's like another like she's like the mom character in that or whatever.
Okay.
And it's so weird 'cause I saw it not too long ago, and like the acting her in that as opposed to like this, it's like it's so weird. That's why I'm like maybe like because I know how good of actors are, and like when the first half I'm just like this is so boring and bad. Like this feels like this is like a test. Like this isn't real.
Yeah.
So I'm like that's why I think that's what like kind of soured me on the first half. Where
Yeah,
like
no, that first half, like they're literally like punctual to like everything, like perfect grammar, perfect everything. Like
Yeah.
especially going from like Colin Farrell to like the Batman, his like Penguin to this, it's like
It's
so weird.
It's just shocking in terms of just other movies in general. Like most movies don't talk like this.
yeah.
You know.
And that also like shows how good of an actor
Also,
like, they are.
You mentioned the Batman, and Barry's also.
Yeah,
in
he's
that.
always barely in. And
Did you
he's not
see-
in the actual
I don't know if you
movie,
saw that
technically.
deleted scene
Yes.
that Matt Reeves posted, but like I can see why they casted him as that character.
Oh yeah.
Like,
he's a really good
but I mean,
actor.
watching this movie, like I got that character vibes from his character in this
Like
movie.
his character makes me uncomfortable in this
Yeah.
movie. Like
Yeah.
and Killing Sacred Deer.
So like that makes me excited for what they're gonna do with him in the Batman.
Because like there are times where like because he is just like there's no makeup on. He's just like him.
Yeah.
But like sometimes when you see him, I'm just like I get uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's certain scenes where like he shows up and I'm like, oh, like
yeah.
what is he? What's going on?
You're like, what's he doing here? I don't like this.
So like it is like there is like suspense and like build up to that way, but I just don't think overall this is a good movie. I get it.
Yes.
It doesn't mean I like it though.
Yeah.
I don't
I don't
like-
like the execution of it.
I don't
That's
like
why
what they
that's
did
all.
with Barry's character.
Yeah, I will say that I really liked a lot of the cinematography in this movie.
Oh,
There's so
yeah.
many good wide-angle shots, and there's a lot of tracking shots. There were moments where it felt almost like I was like a voyeur, like watching someone else's life, because it would either start off from a wide distance and then slowly zoom in, like I was walking in.
I think what it does really good is that the tracking shots, it's blended in with all the other shots, zoom in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing jarring about any of these different types of shots. They're all just cohesive and they fit within the world.
And I
of
think like how
movie.
all these like types of like shooting for like movies, like they're blended together. It like you said, it makes you feel like you're right there.
yeah, like I'm watching.
Like those are human
through a
movements that
window.
like yeah.
I think that's like that's great because it's like the twist is like in the middle.
Mhm.
So like if it was like a regular movie, then the twist it'd be kind of jarring. But like the movie slowly builds in its uncomfortableness
Yeah.
and its weirdness with the
Mhm.
whole like dialogue, the way it's shot. Sometimes it makes you feel uncomfortable. And after a while, like Barry's character, himself just makes you uncomfortable. So like when you get to that twist point, it's like it's not as big of a shock
Yeah.
as it would be if it's like just a cold like twist.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about like how there's like a twist in the middle, but like what I like about scripts is how when they're able to put in stuff that you don't really need to see. Like they talk about someone's death all throughout the whole movie, but you don't see that. You don't need to see that. It's like you basically start this movie in the middle of like some like a story.
You start in the middle.
You start in the middle of something that's already
and you only
happening.
learn things through characters, and it's interesting because like I don't know how long it took you guys to realize, but like Colin Farrell's character lies.
Yes.
And like I forgot what exact point, but when I started realizing that he was lying.
He lies from the beginning.
Yeah, like he lies from the very beginning, but like you don't know that until like a certain point. So like when I found that out, that's when I was like beginning to think like that's when the twist. I'm like it makes more sense because like he's already lying to you, so he probably knows something that you don't know.
Yes.
Or and obviously other characters do or whatever. So like when that twist comes, it's like, oh snap. But like it makes you wonder, like, oh, just like did he know that kind of like way more before? Because again, like there's kind of like a 30-minute pre to this movie that probably not literally actually exists, but like it happens in this context of the movie, and then this actual movie or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm glad they don't show. Yeah, I agree with 1,000 because again, this movie's already long.
Yeah. I mean, like,
and it would ruin the kind of flow of that, like the build up and the lies and all that.
Yeah, I mean, just like because I'm learning how to write scripts, and I really appreciate when like you could build your world without having to like actually build it.
Yeah, it doesn't start with like in a world.
Yeah, you don't get any context to what's happened before till like till characters mention it later on.
Well, that's how most like that's how lifelike it would be. Like you're not gonna pop in and immediately start at the beginning of every story. Like sometimes you're just gonna pop in and hear part of it and then keep going, kind of thing.
Yeah, anime. Stop giving me a whole episode on explaining how this world works. I don't need to know everything.
Yeah, in general, this movie doesn't really do a lot of explaining. It doesn't really need to.
And it works.
Yeah. So
it doesn't need to explain the things.
I agree with you. I think what I feel like this movie is fine.
You pointed at me, by the way. Omar. We were an audio.
I agree with Omar. I think where this movie does a lot of good stuff, and I don't hate a lot of it. But in general, like I just didn't really like it at the end of it. Like I just felt kind of like, oh, that's what we're okay, all right.
The execution of it, I guess.
Yeah, like I feel like this movie, obviously, I don't think it's for me. Like because I would be like, all right, let's change this and do this, and it wouldn't essentially it wouldn't be what it is. Like this movie is unique because it's so different, and in ways that I don't really like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I like it for those reasons.
For those you don't like. The opposite.
Yeah.
I like the different things it does.
Yeah, and
I think for me, it's like if I have to ask, what's the point of this movie, and like I think it's not a good thing, because like even in like bad movies, like or like even boring movies, like at least I'm at some point entertained in some aspect or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I don't even think about what was the point of this. I'm like, oh, this movie just sucked, and that's it. Like this movie's like it doesn't suck. And I'm just like, what is the point? Not literally what's the point. I'm like, why am I watching this? Like, obviously the podcast, but
yeah. But you're like, why did this get made?
Yeah, like I'm just like, yeah, why is this here? Like,
well, I mean, I don't know if you wrote this in your notes, Omar.
Did I write this movie? No,
I don't know if you wrote this in your notes, but it's based off a Greek myth.
I wanted to say that it spoils because that myth would basically spoil the movie. And I have it here because I'm not going to try to remember it by heart.
I feel like that adds to it.
I know what you're talking about, and we'll definitely delve in that in the spoilers talk. But I think 2/3 of us say we don't recommend this.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it.
You wouldn't recommend either?
No.
You wouldn't watch this with your dad?
I love this
You wouldn't watch it with your dad?
I wouldn't.
Yo,
I wouldn't watch this with my dad.
Yo, dad, you got beautiful hands.
This is one of those movies where it's like, I have a friend who's very specific, and he's really into filmmaking. Okay, then I'll maybe like, oh, maybe you should check it out.
Oh, so you would recommend it to me?
Yeah, if I knew about this movie and you didn't, I'd be like, oh, I think you get a kick out of it.
Yeah,
but like, I'm not recommending this to anybody. Like, it's not for anybody.
Well, one more thing before we jump into spoilers.
No.
I'm kidding. Okay, do you have more to say?
No, I have.
What?
All my shit is gonna be spoilers.
So, like, Omar set my expectations really low for this movie.
Yeah, I was like, this movie sucks. I was the first one to watch it, all three of us.
And
I didn't know that, though.
I don't know, like, so you were talking about how you don't like suspense movies and all that. Like, it makes you uncomfortable.
Not that I don't like them, but like this movie,
you have a hard time watching them.
Yes, I have a hard time watching them, but I do enjoy them.
I have a hard time watching the first shot of this movie.
Yeah,
I don't like any kind of that stuff. Any like gory stuff.
See, I like that. Ironically, the opening shot is like basically a surgery scene.
Yeah, so
and you don't know anything about the scene. Like you just see an open body. You don't even know where the body, like where this part is or anything.
I legit thought my TV was broken at the beginning.
Yeah, because
it takes so long.
There was I got scared too because I'm like, did my monitor broke? 'Cause I have a new computer, so I was like, my monitor already broken.
Yeah, because it starts with the black screen and then the music kicks in. And then it just stays like that for so long that I was like,
and then the scene that like kind of put me off for a bit because Omar was saying how this movie is so bad or boring.
It's boring,
and I'm just like, oh, is it gonna be a whole bunch of like butchering deers and stuff?
Like literally,
I don't want to see this.
This is the sacred deer.
Yeah, and I'm killing.
I thought it was gonna be a lot of that.
So if you haven't seen this movie, fuck off. Get out of here. Come back and watch it, or don't watch it because the movie sucks.
Or you could just listen to us talk about it. You don't have to watch it.
Yeah, or just like go to the wiki and like read it or something.
Or watch a YouTube video and they'll be like, explain killing the sacred deer.
Dude, it was so weird because I was looking up killing of a sacred deer and all the articles that came up were just like ending explained. Here's the explanation for here's what happens at the end. And it's just like, why are there so many of these?
I feel bad for those people that need to like don't get a movie enough to watch those.
I don't know.
Hey guys, what's going on? I'm back here watching Killing the Sacred Deer.
Yeah, I mean,
hit the subscribe button. Sorry, I just like doing this.
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, okay, we're back with spoilers now. Spoilers. This movie is epic. I changed my mind.
So I'm just gonna go chronologically with some of my notes.
Yes.
My first big is the general anesthetic scene. Do you remember that?
The what?
No.
The general anesthetic.
Explain and then I'll say yes or no.
So Nicole Kidman is getting ready for bed.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
General anesthetic? And he goes, yeah.
It's funny because, we're sorry, like my buffered.
Oh.
So I had to restart the movie in that scene. So like right before that happened, like she said that, and I'm like, I thought she was just asking him a question.
Yeah.
So when I was rewatching, I had to jump to that point again.
Yeah.
I was just like, what happened a second ago? Because it goes from that to to the sex scene, and I was just like, wait, maybe I rewound a little bit. Like maybe I missed something. I just forgot. I'm like, oh no, it's just it goes straight from that to that, huh?
Yeah. So the movie is already like unsettling because it shows that heart surgery or whatever. That's surgery at the beginning. And then the dialogue is really weird. And then all of a sudden,
like a watch conversation. Him and the anesthesia guy or whatever.
Anesthesiologist.
Yeah.
And then they're going to bed, and then his wife is like, "Do you want me to like pretend to be put under like a body?"
She literally says she says the general anesthesia. And that's it. Like this is the thing they've already done.
Yeah.
Like this is because like the way you say it makes him like, "Do you want me to do this?" Like she's like, "Hey, you want like tonight?" And he's just basically like, "Yeah," and then they do it.
Yeah, and then he's just like, it was so, I felt kind of awkward because like he was very visibly like rubbing his like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it feels so real and like in the aspect of like it like not real in real life and real in this world where it's slowly, what's the word, uncanny valley, where like you believe this is real, but there's so many small things where I'm like, this isn't human, this isn't normal life or whatever. So like that, the way this guy makes like that world enough where like it's uncomfortable but it's real and you believe it, but it's also like non-human. It makes you feel that like it makes you feel a certain weird way.
Speaking of weird scenes, shortly after Martin comes to the house for the first time, he goes on a walk with Colin Farrell's daughter, Kim. And then it just cuts to her like singing a cover of, isn't that a song from like the Chainsmokers or something?
I've heard that song before. I don't know. I can't remember.
It's like a popular song.
I thought a woman sang that song.
It is a woman. I don't know. Whatever.
I think I remember because I recognize the song halfway.
Can you look up what song it was?
Look it up while we're talking. But it was so weird because like she starts singing and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's neat. And then she keeps singing and keeps singing. Like, it was so long and dragged out. And I really didn't understand what they were going for with that.
It was definitely awkward. I had to go on my phone for that.
Oh, what? You were just, like, texting or something?
No, I just, like, it was just awkward. I'm like, I don't want to be looking at this. I'm going to go on TikTok real quick.
Well, in general, I felt really awkward with a lot of her scenes. Who is it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Ellie something?
Ellie Goulding.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What song is it?
Burn.
Oh, okay.
It's not that crazy.
I remember that song.
It's so weird, man. Like, there's that, and there's, like, other scenes where she's doing stuff, and I'm just like, Like, in general, I feel really weird with, like, preteen stuff. She's, like, what, a preteen, right?
She's 14.
She's 14, yeah.
Oh, there's also a very uncomfortable scene with her.
Yeah. Where she's hanging out with Martin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can say it. We're in
Yeah, we're in
spoilers.
spoilers.
Yeah, you don't have to make like that one scene. Like, describe what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about, but now you brought it up.
I don't want to
so you're saying it.
Okay, I'll describe it, I guess. They're hanging out. They're like cuddling and whatever, and then she gets undressed for him, and like she's trying to like make moves on him, and he's just like, nah, whatever. And then
I'm out of here.
he ends up leaving. But like it's uncomfortable just in general, like having her undress and then like try to present herself in that way.
I mean, it's more uncomfortable after because they alreght tell you that she's 16.
Or 14.
He's 16. She's 14.
Yeah, he's 16.
He's 16.
Okay.
She's 14.
Yeah. But
still,
I think Alex said it earlier when I was barely paying attention. Like, I was on my phone like a lot of this time. Like, I was reading like mangas or something. Like I was just like, because there's so many times where I'm like, yeah, I get you're building stuff up, and I'm like, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like I'm already in this build up. Okay, like you can go now.
mean,
like
do
the thing. Do the thing.
before the twist, there's definitely like a lot of quietness. It's unsettling, and I feel like that's I see why you would be doing other stuff because there's not much happening.
I imagine like in the theater. Because obviously you're not gonna be on your phone. Well, please don't be on your phone.
Could you imagine?
Normally you don't be on your phone in your
You don't
theater.
tell me what to
checking
do.
TikToks.
I'll be on my phone.
Man, I'm whipping a nay-nay in the middle of the theater or something. But like normally when you're in a theater, obviously you're like you have to sit and you have to watch. You can't do anything else or whatever. And I imagine that would like, especially with the audio of like a theater or whatever, like it would make you more like suspenseful. And that scene will probably make you. I would probably be more scared because again I'm very like I'm a scaredy cat.
Yeah.
But like. Me in my own personal house,
You're like, oh, whatever.
I'm just like, okay, are we done? Like, I want to fast forward, so I was just like, I really want to. I'm not going to because I don't want to do that.
Here, let me tell you, like, the first half of the movie, I was, like, munching on Ritz crackers and, like, drinking waters and, like, Pepsis and just, like, whatever, like, laying back.
You're like that meme with, like, all the crumbs on your stomach. You're like, oh, yeah. Nicole Kidman, when they come back.
I had some snacks, and then that first scene came up.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
you're like snacks and
I'm like, nope.
And then the Martin reveal happens where all of a sudden he's like, oh, you killed my dad. I get you have to kill one of your kids.
I'll explain the twist though, because we're building the twist. We don't have to say the twist anymore. We can actually
go for it.
So basically, midway in the movie, what's the doctor's name again? Steven. Yes. Steven's son Bob, like he loses feeling in his legs, so he's in the hospital or whatever. And then Martin's like, hey man, like I need to talk to you right now. And then he like fucking is like, oh, I gave you this knife, and he's like, oh Martin, I had like are we done? Can I leave now? And he's like, oh, I'll just tell you. I need a couple more seconds. Let me just say something real quick.
Yeah.
And he basically tells him, where like, you killed my father, so now it has to be 1-on-1, an eye for an eye. Someone in your family has to die,
Yeah.
and if you don't do it, they're all gonna die. They'll start losing the feeling in their legs. Then they'll start wanting to eat food. They'll like self-starvation, and they'll start bleeding from the eyes, and then they'll die.
Mm-hmm.
And if they start bleeding from the eyes, they only have a couple hours left, and then they'll just die.
Yeah.
But it'll take a couple days, and that's what he tells Steven. Sorry, because their names are so like normal. Robert, Martin, Steven. Like they're so generic. My brain is like fuck. And that's what he tells them. And then in that scene, you're like, Colin is like, what? Get out of here. And he goes security on him and he kicks him out or whatever.
Yeah.
So you kind of started believing that's the beginning where like who's telling the truth here or not.
Yeah.
Because even before that, Steven, at least for me, I don't like you already catch him lying to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Because when his wife asks him who's Martin, he's like, oh, his dad died in a car accident. He died immediately. Oh, when was the funeral? Like, why wasn't I there? He's like, oh, you were probably busy.
Yeah. He's like, I mentioned it.
Yeah, like like you just were busy or whatever.
I totally forgot about that.
And then there's a scene earlier when Martin shows up in the hospital and the anesthesiologist guy is like, oh, who's this? He's like, oh, this is Kim, his daughter. This is her classmate. And she said that he wants to be a cardiologist, whatever his job is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm bringing him under my wing, and like I'm tutoring him so he can see all the doctor stuff or whatever. So like he's been lying how he knows.
Oh, dude, like
Martin throughout the whole movie.
His first line is a lie. He talks about wanting to get a new watch.
Yeah, he's like, I wanted a watch, and in reality he just gives it to Martin.
He gives it to Martin, and then I don't know what's the other dude, the
anesthesia guy. I forgot his name. I don't remember his name.
I'm surprised he didn't figure anything out because he's like, oh yeah, look, we have the same watch.
I think he might have started slowly piecing it together, but like yeah, and then like there are other times where like Steven is like, oh, well, Martin will say something. Steven will be like, oh yeah, I agree. And then like later on in the scene, he'll like someone else will say the opposite thing. He'll be like, oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I just seem like, oh, he's like, I don't have many friends. And my dad told me that having many friends is like better. Like having just a small amount of friends is better. And then Steven's like, your father's correct. And like kind of later in the movie, his own son is like, oh, I have like 3 friends. He's like, it's a good thing to have a lot of friends, you know. So like he's always just constantly just like lying throughout the whole movie.
He doesn't have any.
He has 0 friends.
His son's like, who's your best friend? He's just like, I don't know.
But the moment that twist, that reveal happens, like I sat up and I was like, whoa, okay,
Bazinga.
time to pay attention. And I feel like there was still so much more movie left after that eventually I was like, I did get like what's the word, like antsy. I don't know what the word is, but
it was anxiety. I don't know why I said boys. Like
not anxiety, but I was just like, there was like a certain point where I was like, when is this ending? And then I like grabbed a remote and I was like, I have 20 minutes left. God damn it.
Yeah. I felt like that too.
Yeah. There were a lot of times where I just moved the mouse and I'm like, oh my God, I still have like an hour.
Yeah. Like,
man.
This movie is so focused on building that tension that it's actually, I feel like, to the detriment of the movie, because it's like, eventually if you're not fully committed, then it's not going to work for you, because you're just like, all right, I get it, you're trying to do this, let me see the result, please.
I feel like I got committed early on, because like after the Bob fell, I was like, oh, okay, so just a whole bunch of batches is gonna start happening to everyone.
Yeah,
because I think it's made obvious early on that Steven killed dude's dad. Oh, I mean, did they tell you this?
No.
Yeah.
So for me, like, I didn't think it took me a little too long.
Yeah,
to realize that what was going on.
Yeah, I just thought they were like, oh, karma's gonna get you. So I just thought a whole bunch of shit was gonna start happening, because like right after they take Bob to the hospital, they they ran a fucking stop sign.
Yes,
yeah, I remember that. I was like, oh, she's gonna get hit by a car.
I'm like, oh, they're gonna get T-boned.
Yeah.
Now you made it.
Yeah, and then that's right before the twist happens, and they're like, oh yeah, just same thing's gonna happen to everyone.
Everyone's gonna die in a car.
Yeah, I would have liked it better if it was
Final
like
Destination shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bob's scenes in the hospital, you remember that secret sharing scene where they share each other's secrets?
Wild.
Oh.
That was so wild.
Really weird.
I was like, what's the secret? I thought the secret was gonna be like what he knows about Martin's dad.
Yeah, he's like
he was gonna tell him everything about.
I killed the man.
Yeah, like that was when you're gonna finally learn the truth. But then no, he just like
you hear some other random story that I don't know.
Probably made up.
A weird. No, I believe that story.
I don't
he's
know.
A weird guy.
He's a liar.
He's a weird guy though as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like, now I'm thinking about that scene. That scene is so weird. But like, I think that also goes in the whole thing where like everything's like an exchange kind of thing, where he's like, tell me the thing, I'll tell you my thing, tell me your thing, like afterwards or whatever.
And he had nothing to give, so
like that kind of reinforces like the whole like everything is like an exchange and like almost all these conversations or whatever that like most of these characters have. I thought because even I almost call him Barry. It's not his character's name. Martin's character, like even he lies too, even though he's kind of supposed to be like the truth bringer in this movie. Like when Nicole Kidman shows up at his house, he's like, oh, he flirted with my mom like a whole bunch. Like he was asking for it. Like he's basically like, but in reality, that's not what happened at all. Like he was 100% very uncomfortable.
He's trying to start some shit.
So like he's already like, so then he starts lying, and I think for me that kind of build up in my head. I'm like, so what is true and what's not? Because if he's lying now, but he was supposed to be the truth guy in the twist, and if he's already lying here, then maybe he's already lying. So now I'm just questioning, like, so is this real or not? Like, what is real, what is not?
Well, I think this is like where the downfall is to having a movie that doesn't explain a lot of stuff. Where it's just like, if it leaves so much ambiguity, at some point it just becomes like, well, I hate,
too open.
I hate not knowing. Like
tell me something.
Give me a crumb, please, just a crumb of something. Because sorry,
oh, you go for it.
Like
it's my bad.
I was really annoyed. I mean, obviously, it was an intentional choice not to reveal why or how Martin was doing this, or not to reveal how Martin was able to get these people sick that way. But I was just like. At first, I thought it was a poison or something, right? Yeah. Maybe like a gift that he had given Steven or something. And I thought it was that. And then eventually there's a scene where Kim like crawls up to him and then she goes, oh, like you can stop it or for a bit or something. Yeah. Because I guess earlier in the movie he did that when they were on the phone.
When she's in the hospital.
Yeah. So he's able to do it. So it's like he has superpowers or something, or he's like this mental link.
I think he's a god.
But then it removes the idea that it's fate for me, because if he's actively doing this and lying, like, then he's just an asshole with superpowers. He's not a god.
Yeah,
I think he's a god.
Or
he's meant to be some sort
He's a stand-in for God. Omar, this actually might be a good time to bring up that Greek story.
I was gonna bring that up, but there was someone you brought that up earlier, but I'm slowly forgetting what you said, because I was gonna say something to that too. Oh. And I forgot, but I was gonna kind of like what you said, go at the end there with you. Man, what the fuck was it?
Well, I was just talking about them not explaining the power.
Yeah, no. Oh, okay. There are times where I'm like, there's that scene where he's like, "Oh, come to my house," and he's like, "Oh, well, it's kind of like maybe later." He's like, "No, I'll like do it tonight, like at 7:30." And he's leaving the parking lot, and then you see Martin there.
That was weird.
Yeah,
and it's like, how did Martin go from there to his house, like assumingly walking or in some sort? But like Steven's on a car from the very beginning, so how did he make it before? Because when he's like,
he's a god.
Oh, he's like, "Oh, Martin was in the hospital," and like Steven's like, "No, like I went to his house and he was there."
Yeah.
So like that's also like, how does that work? Where like, did you just teleport?
Yeah.
Like how does like some of the stuff like that where like small, or like in the hospital when he's talking about the when he calls the Kim.
Yeah.
And he's outside the hospital, but then when you look out for realsies, he's not there at all.
Yeah.
So you're beginning to wonder like, oh, I was like, is he even real? Like, is he just like?
Yeah, I was thinking like, is he a thing that can just appear for people or something?
So like that's why I was like, a lot of it's like, again, like whole Sam was mentioning, like it's too open ended. Sometimes it's not a bad thing, but it's just like in this movie, it's like, I need something, like at least a little bit to like give me like, okay, at least I have this, and then I could base everything off of this one point.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, well, is this even a real point? And maybe everyone who watches the movie, they're like, oh, that's obviously he's this, and we're like, we're just dumb and we just don't get it or whatever.
I mean, you're the researcher, man. Did the director say anything about it?
Thank you for calling me the researcher. So Sam brought this up earlier, and then my voice is like constantly just going out. Again, I apologize for these pronunciations.
That's right.
These are terrible. So this story is, I kind of forgot how much research I did, apparently.
Yeah.
I already forgot. I think on purpose, this is like based off a certain story in Greek mythos, which is Iphigani in Alus.
Which they specifically mention in this movie.
Did they? I don't even remember.
Yes, when he goes to the school to ask about, which is a fucked up scene, by the way.
That seems crazy.
That was
that was
to the
weird.
school and he's like, "Which kid of mine do you like more?"
Like he wanted the principal to tell him which one's the better kid in every, like, who makes the most trouble, who has the best grades, and he learned they're literally perfectly like opposite. Like one's good in one subject, the other one's good in the other subject. They're both good kids.
Yeah.
And he's like, which one do you like more?
Yeah.
He's trying to figure out which one he's gonna kill.
Yeah, and then the principal mentions like, "Oh yeah, Kim like wrote this great like essay about if aphages or whatever," and
she read it for the whole class, and everyone clapped.
Yeah,
I thought I was gonna go that way. He's like, she read it in front of everyone, and everyone stood and clapped. I was like, how do you know that? Were you there?
But yeah, they do directly mention this story in that one scene. That's so.
So I'm gonna give you the cliff notes, but all these names are just absolutely disgusting.
Sure.
I hate this. So this story is based off like the Trojan War time period.
Okay.
So this is right before the Greeks went to Troy to fight in said Trojan War or whatever.
Here, instead of giving us the Spark Notes, just give us like the modern updated version of it. So be like Bob. Say like.
It's funny because I this reminded me of a Game of Thrones. I don't know if I should say because it's a spoiler like mid and then a certain season, but it's almost the exact same as well. Basically, the equivalent of, there is the leader of the Greeks.
Yeah.
He's like, they're gonna go to Troy, but then the winds, that's like that have to travel through ocean.
Yeah.
The winds are stopping them. Yeah. And it's literally the god of Artemis is like, no, you can't go.
Yeah.
You have to sacrifice something.
Okay.
And he's like, you have to sacrifice your daughter.
Okay.
So his daughter's obviously not on the war fleet or whatever. So he sends a letter to his wife being like, can you send our daughter here so she can marry Achilles, because he's part of this the war effort.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, and then everyone believes that except for them, obviously the dad, because he's the only one that knows at the time. Yeah. And he's like, there was already Greek soldiers in Troy in the beach waiting for us. So if I don't kill my daughter, they're gonna rebel. Yeah. And they're gonna like kill something, either us or then like someone else, or like they're gonna kill. Yeah. So they're like, I have to do this. Then you learn the dad's brother, his wife is the one. I don't know if you know the Trojan story warrior that well.
Not really.
It's basically like Helen was stolen from the Greeks to Troy. Yeah. Because she used to get married to a Troy prince. Yeah. And
We learned about this in high school.
I still remember.
I care.
I still remember most of this too.
Greek mythology is neat, but like I don't care enough to know any of these stories. Like
I just think it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, basically, Helen is like the crux of the war, and Helen's husband is the dad's brother.
Okay.
So he's like, no, we have to do this war. My wife is stolen. Like,
yes.
Come on, man. So then they kind of like argue. Then they finally like, all right, we're gonna do it. So then obviously Achilles finds out, and he's like, yo, what the fuck? You can't kill my wife. But it's more of him being like more of pride than don't kill this woman. He's like, no, like you can't kill my wife. It's just like don't kill this innocent. Like it's my wife, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And after a while, like the daughter's bench basically like, if I do this willingly, like I will be known as a hero.
Yeah.
Because like, I willingly died for the war effort.
Yeah.
And I will be known as a hero as opposed to me being dragged and then like just beheaded or whatever.
Yeah.
So she takes like, I'll take the L. She's exactly what she said. She goes,
quote, I'll take the L.
I'll take the L, fam. And the dad said lit.
Bet, bro.
Bet. He said bet. And then
this ratio.
this is, man, we're like historians.
Yeah.
And then there's like a point where like there's a debate of whether she did die or not.
Mm-hmm.
Real historians say she did get killed. She died, and then they went to the war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then like, but in the real like books,
Right. Real historians went, yeah, no, the Greek gods were cool with it after they killed her.
they are. That's a lot. If you read the Bible,
Yeah, exactly.
there's some wild stuff in the Bible. So like the Greeks, they're way worse than like. But in like actual books, like it's that like they like last second she was like no because you like your will to do it that you're willing to kill your daughter for this, it's fine. You get to kill a deer, hence the name of killing the sacred deer.
See, from what I read about this story is that they trick the god into thinking that he killed his daughter by instead killing a sacred deer.
That's why like there's like a lot of contention over like what actually happened. Like there's different like stories.
And I remember I actually got annoyed because I was reading.
It's too open ended.
No, I got annoyed because I was reading somebody's like description. I clicked one of those articles out of curiosity that's like killing a sacred deer ending explained, and they were like, they fixed the Greek tragedy because in that one, they just kill the deer instead of the daughter.
Yeah, that's the one I read.
And I was like, that's stupid. Why does that matter? Like, why do you care that much about it? Like, you're an idiot. If you think the story is bad because they don't kill the daughter, that's an issue with you, guy. Like, I'm sorry.
I will read this. I will read this sentence real quick.
Sure.
I can't read, so prepared. The play, as it exists in the manuscripts, ends with a messenger reporting that Iphigenia has been replaced. That's the daughter, by the way.
Yeah.
Has been replaced on the altar by a deer. It is, however, generally considered that this is not authentic part of Euripides' original text.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where like it's written like so many years ago.
Yeah.
Where like you can only have so much like evidence that's still existing that you can still read or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of the things where like a lot of Greek stuff is like that though in general. It's like did this happen or this happen? It's like whatever you kind of take it as. And I guess that kind of ironically goes to the open-endedness of how this movie is as well, where like a lot of stuff are just like open-ended, and this was just like, oh, did the daughter die or did the deer die, and why and what, and blah blah blah. But I think in this movie, it's loosely based. It's not supposed to, obviously, because like it's not just the daughter; it's this whole family or whatever. But like, I think this also shows like how the gods, like at least in the Greek mythos, like they don't give a shit. Like they don't care if it's like right to them. It's just they just care if it's like justice to them.
Yeah.
Like they don't care because he's like, because like Nicole Kidman's character is like, why do we have to suffer for my husband's mistake killing your dad?
Yeah.
We're not involved in this at all. And he's just basically just like, oh, this is my justice.
Well, yeah, he's like, I don't think it's fair, but
like
it's
this is how I see justice or whatever. So like that's what gods are. Like I remember like Zeus and like whatever. I forgot his wife's name, like Hephaestus or whatever. I think it's a guy.
Hera?
Yeah, Hephaestus is a guy. My bad. Hera or whatever. And she's always just like oh, like he slept with a real woman. So instead she like kills the kid or like tortures the kid or like just crazy shit.
Just be a better woman.
Like Gotti, but like they're just known for like kind of like petty shit basically. And I think this is like borderline petty, but I think he does. Barry's character, goddamn, Martin's character, like I think because they mentioned like he's kind of like on the spectrum and something. Like something's not wrong with his head. Like something's not okay with him or whatever. So you also kind of wonder like, is that normal, and is he also a god with that, or is it because he like that because he's a god? It's kind of like which is one, like what came first or whatever. There's
a lot of reasons why I think he's a god. One of the biggest ones is like I feel like he knew who was gonna die because the girl was like, "Oh, I mean, I think it's implied that she knows what's gonna happen too." Because she got she
because obviously he probably told her a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and she keeps telling the little kid, he's like, "You're gonna die."
Like, I want your MP3.
Yeah,
Can I please have your MP3?
So like, she knows he's gonna die.
By the way,
and
if I was in the situation, I would immediately fucking drop kick that daughter. Like,
well, you have no legs.
When she went, "Oh, kill me, please!" Like, I made a mistake. I would have been like, gladly.
And like that too. Like she's like, "Oh, kill me!" Like knowing that she's not gonna die. There's a scene where Martin asked the mom, "Oh, can you bring the kids down?" And he looks at Bob specifically. He's like, "Not gonna give me a hug," knowing that it might be the last time. That was the last time he saw him. But I feel like he knew that.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I really do think he's a god.
You kind of have to, because it's like, then what else is it?
Yeah.
But like, I don't think he like on purpose. I think it was just like the youngest. It's usually because in like mythology and even the Bible, it's like you get the youngest and then you kind of like go up from there. So it's obviously Bob is first because he's the youngest, and then it's Kim, and then goes upwards in age or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you have I kind of want to delve into like other people's ideas. Yeah. So like, do you guys have another like?
I just want to. I guess I just wanted to talk about in general. I just felt like it was like the movie was really overindulgent and just very like in its own head about like, oh, like this is such a good idea that everyone talks so weird, right? Like, this is such a great idea that the music just randomly kicks in and makes you turn down the speakers in the middle of the night. Yeah. Like, it's just like, all right, I get it, but like, I don't care. Like, it's
like a movie made for himself.
Yeah,
thinking like this is like the best.
Like it's one of those like unapologetic, like, I'm gonna make what I like, and if you don't like it, fuck you. Like, and I didn't like it, so I mean, I'm not gonna hate it.
Yeah.
Purely, it's like, it's not a bad movie, but it's just like, I don't think I'll ever watch this again. You know?
Like, I definitely, if I say like I could tell my past self, like, so I watch the movie, I'll be like, no, don't watch this. You don't need to. Like,
watch anything but this.
Yeah, watch something else.
I'm glad I watched it. It was a good movie.
Lame.
I thought it was fine.
No, I mean, like, I understand, because you're a film guy, you write scripts and all that. Like, it tickled all the right parts of your brain. But my balls were not as tickled, personally.
They were blue.
But you don't have me there to help you out with that.
Not in this house, please.
Omar, let's move away from all that. How about you tell us the opinions that you saw or whatever?
So, there's like a smaller one, and it's so funny that you kind of brought it up. You mentioned poison. Mm-hmm. There is a theory that it's not real. It's poison. Yeah. Where it's Barry. Obviously, because he was in the house, he could have probably done who knows what or whatever in the house. Yeah. And that he poisoned Barry, and then that it's Kim isn't. Oh, sorry. Bob. Bob is poisoned, and Kim isn't at all, because someone will say like, oh, like the only person they drop like a doll is Bob. Yeah. They never show them trying to drop Kim.
She did drop,
but like, no, she herself physically dropped. Like there's a difference between like someone like picking you up and then dropping you, because I think some guy was like, your legs will automatically do it because it's like, it's just natural. Like, unless you're just a professional like dead body guy, like you will naturally just, your knee-jerk reaction will be like, I have to save myself. But the way Barry just like falls like a rag doll, it's like they never show Kim, they do that to Kim. Yeah. So like so there's no evidence of that, and like obviously she's the only one that walked out of all of them, of the two. And then obviously Barry's one telling her the most stuff. Yeah. And then there's an MP3 thing where she's like, I lost Barry's MP3. And people were saying maybe there's like subliminal messages in his MP3 that he gave to her, to like, that kind of like gets her in under her control or whatever. So saying that like that's why the wife character was never poisoned, because she never got it. Like she never lost her legs or anything. Yeah. But the only ones that was Bob was the only one technically, if you want to go deep into it, because like they didn't even force feed Kim. She bit. And she slowly was like, ugh, like she'd throw it up. But like Barry didn't even open. Like they had to like choke him with the donut to like give him food. And you can obviously tell he's not the one that's okay. But Kim is like, there are times where you're like, you think that like, maybe you think, but this person thought that like, that she's faking and they're working together or whatever. And like the end scene, at the end of the movie, when they're in the restaurant and Barry's there, she's eating fries.
Yeah.
And then obviously Barry in the beginning of the movie, he's like, "Oh, fries are my favorite. I eat them last." And in the end of the movie, she's eating the fries.
Mhm.
She's eating the first.
Yeah, but like in the end of the movie,
Yeah,
like literally,
yeah.
like at the end of the movie,
Oh,
it's like
okay.
she's eating the fries, and they're looking at each other.
Yeah.
That's how someone interpreted it. I personally don't think that.
No.
Because I also think it's like, then why did she do the whole thing like, "Hey, you make me better"?
Mhm.
Like if she was faking it, then why would she?
Why would she get angry about
Yeah,
it?
and then why would she forcibly drag herself outside?
She had
Where
like,
was she going, by the way?
cuts.
So I think she was just like trying to escape.
She had
Oh.
cuts
Like,
and bruises.
Yeah, because like she obviously wasn't like, she went like just like to run away. Maybe like, she runs away
Yeah.
and like maybe someone will save her and like someone else will help them because she thinks this is like a fucked situation already.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because you thought maybe Barry, Martin would be like, "Oh, I got you," because we're in love.
Oh, I forgot to mention the one scene that did make me chuckle. It's the one where he has to decide who he kills. When he
does the 360.
once he starts once he starts spinning around with the beanie on with the gun, I was like, oh my god, this is it. Like,
this is how he does it.
man, dude, I would have, again, I know who I want to kill. It's okay. Just go for it, man. And it's funny too because the first person he almost shoots is Kim,
He almost shoots everyone, then he actually shoots Bob.
Mhm.
which I was just thinking, I don't know, part of me wants to re-edit that scene where you don't see who he shoots at the end and then it just goes to the diner scene, because I think that'd be a little more interesting. But then again, it's like it's right after, so you don't really get much of
Time
like
to think about it.
yeah, it's just like, oh, okay.
I thought that scene. It's not. I don't even know if it's funny. It's just like, it's so weird
Oh yeah.
because it's like. Because I remember when like he puts everyone a bag on his head and I see the gun and I'm just like, so what? Like, how is he gonna do this? I thought he was gonna like spin the bottle thing maybe.
Oh.
Or like something normal.
Yeah.
But he has a beanie on. I'm like, why does he have a beanie on? Is he just like a hipster?
Yeah.
And no, it's a face mask. And he just starts spinning or whatever. And by the second shot, I'm like, this is a bad idea.
Yeah,
Like,
like he's not gonna shoot
like
anybody.
what if you shoot someone in a non-lethal spot?
Well, then
Like
that's
that's
it.
just like this
You
could be
shoot him again.
painful. Like what if you
Yeah.
like shoot him like in the fucking like leg? Because then in the third time I noticed that the point like where his gun was pointing was lower. So I'm like, if he shot anyone that wasn't Bob, that wouldn't really kill them, honestly.
Yeah.
Because like, I think the other times he shot higher. I think he was getting lower and lower. Like he was
Yeah.
pointing the gun lower and lower.
Yeah.
And then I guess luckily he shot Bob.
Luckily.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
you know.
And I thought it was gonna go like he was just gonna cover them up and just shoot whoever he wanted.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was like, I don't want you to see
Yeah.
who's gonna die.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want you to,
Yeah.
so that the person.
So he's like, I'm a mask myself.
that is so stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. It was dumb. What's the next one, Omar?
So this one I thought was really interesting. I like this one a lot. Is that Martin represents the guilt, alcoholism, and emotional problems of the father. So like, I see it as like the father, and at least during the movie, he spends less time with his family now. He's spending more time with Martin, which
yeah.
is like him avoiding the guilt of what he's done. So he's avoiding his own family,
Sure.
and then they start slowly questioning like, "You're not home anymore. Why are you hanging out with Martin more often? A.K. Why are you not home anymore?
Why are you at the
Like,
bar?
Why are you like not with your family
Well, I
anymore?"
mean, if he
Yeah.
killed his father, like yeah, he would feel guilty. He's like, oh,
That's what it's saying. Like,
I gotta
his,
make up for
his
this.
things of like being an alcoholic, because he's an alcoholic. That's like they
Yeah.
mention. They kind of like, they don't sure to mention it, but they kind of like hint at it. Where like,
Yeah.
oh,
Or at
I've been drinking alcohol
At
for
least
years,
used to be, yeah.
and then so it's like, oh, he was an alcoholic beforehand, because like, oh, the one guy was like, this is normal for him when he did surgery when he was drunk.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
So he's like, oh, that was a normal thing. That's why no one questioned it.
Yeah.
So like, he's an alcoholic. So it's like the guilt of being like those things he did is like that's dragging him away from his family. And usually when that happens, the daughter like lacks a male figure in their life, and they'll fall in love with any man. It doesn't matter. AK why she fell in love with Martin for absolutely no reason. Like he's like a
He's
weirdo.
giving you like the minimum attention.
And he's like a psycho. Like he's not human. Like
Yeah.
why would anyone like him? But she just madly falls in love with him. Immediately
Yeah.
starts smoking. Immediately starts lying to her parents, going out and not telling them what she's doing, and chooses Martin a lot of times over her own family, which is someone a daughter would do without a father figure.
She really turns
Shoot
into
her.
like a Martin number 2.
Shoot her.
Kill her now.
I was just like, the moment they made it clear that she knew what was happening and she was like fully aware of it, I was like, oh no, you're just as bad. You die now, please. Like that's the problem. Like the main crux of the movie towards the later half is like,
who dies?
should I
Yeah,
kill?
who dies?
You know? And I was like, I know.
I think it's
move
also
on.
like it's. I didn't hate that because it's obviously none of us are parents, where like I can't imagine it's easy to be like I will kill my child now. Like he was very much like I can't do this. Like I think I mentioned earlier, where like there's a scene like he starts crying just randomly.
Yeah.
Because he's realizing like this, I have to kill someone.
Yeah.
And he can't handle it because even though he did bad things in like he's not a bad dad either.
Yeah.
Like he obviously cares for his children. He's always like, oh, how was the recite? No, but like, oh, you got better over time and blah blah. Like, hey son, do this and whatever. Like he's obviously not a bad father, and they obviously like him. They still love him.
Yeah.
So like it's not easy to be like I'm going to kill my own child. Like that's extremely difficult. So I understand him being like I can't do it, especially when she's like do it, kill me. He's like I can't fucking do that. That's a lot to do.
I don't know. I kind of wanted a mom to die after she said, "Oh, let's just kill one of them. We can make another one." Anyway,
I mean, she got a point.
I mean,
that's where I think.
But I mean, like, you're a parent. Why you wouldn't think about killing your own child? I mean, I'm not a parent, but I mean,
Kim.
That's where I think the whole like everything's an exchange. All three of them bargained in their own way.
Yeah.
Bob was like, "Oh, I cut my own hair. I'll water the plants." He's like, I already did it. And then Kim being like, "Oh, kill me. Like I'll do it. Like self-sacrifice stuff the way that in the Greek story she did or whatever."
Yeah.
And then the mom being like, "We'll just have another kid."
Yeah.
Like explain why she shouldn't die. It's like we can have other kids.
Yeah.
So like, obviously don't kill me.
I
So
don't
like they're
know.
all like bargaining in their own fucked up way because again this whole world is kind of like fucked. Everything is like
Everything is an
give me
exchange.
something, I get something. Like
Yeah.
nothing is like do it because you're a good person.
I feel
do
like
it
any
because
logical parent would be like,
well,
kill me.
I also kind of get like again this whole movie isn't like this world isn't a logical world obviously. Like it's a very like weird world.
Yeah.
But I still think Steven's character where like it is still fucked to like I have to kill someone.
Yeah.
Like the mom isn't affected because again technically it's like it's not, she has no guilt because she's not her fault.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's all Steven's fault. He's the one that feels guilty or whatever.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And they kind of trace back to the whole alcohol, like Mark Ripton's whatever.
Yeah.
This other line I thought was pretty good. It's like, oh, the father emotional problems paralyzes the family. Like he like not in a, like obviously in a literal sense, like they're paralyzed, they can't move anymore. But usually when a father abandons like their family in that kind of a way, the family can only do so much or whatever. Like they're kind of fucked. Where like the father obviously like money bringer, he's obviously cares the most, and like gives attention all the time, and is like the kind one of the two parents or whatever. So like if he's gone, it kind of like fucks the family up the most, aka like paralyzing the family.
Okay.
You're making a face. Why are you making? Sam's making a face.
I hate this.
What?
Like I hate stories that are like it's all a big metaphor for this. It's
Well,
like,
literally in the movie, the guy's like, it's a metaphor.
I
It's a
understand.
metaphor. Symbolism.
Yeah.
Best scene. aka I hate that.
I hate that. But yeah, like just in general, like pinning the entire movie is like this is a metaphor for alcoholism. It's like shut up, please. I don't
Well, again,
care.
this is a theory. Like, this
It's
is
a
someone's
theory.
opinion.
But what
This
I'm
isn't the
saying is
guy's.
This person's opinion is if it's true, it's lame.
Got
And I hope
him.
it's not.
You think maybe that's because you have alcoholism?
Yeah.
I think another theory was like this is a film of opposites. Like a lot of things that happen are like the same, just in different contexts.
Sure.
Where like Martin's mother falls in love with like the Steven for absolutely no reason really. Like technically he killed her husband, yet he's like you have beautiful hands and does whatever. Yet Kim falls in love with Martin for no reason and they fall in love with each other, yet in both cases the both males like dip out
Yeah.
once it kind of gets like physical.
Yeah.
Like obviously like the mom like sucks his fingers and he's like I'm out.
I'm so glad she wasn't interested in his fate.
That, yeah,
Oh my
that would have been disgusting.
Is this a Tarantino movie?
But yeah, obviously like the two male characters like dipping out like in a when the female
Wants to engage.
specimen. I don't know why I'm
Yeah.
saying it like that.
See,
I hate
they're
that
just
shit.
Sigma males, okay? That's why they don't need women, okay?
Yeah.
I think another like thing was like people mentioned like the whole beautiful hands line.
Yeah.
I think there was a idea, and I enjoy the idea where like that I think it's a metaphor for like how we see doctors as perfect. Even though like statistically almost surgery botches are because it's human, not because it's machine, yet we still view doctors as like the perfect, like, hey doctor, what's wrong with me, and he'll tell you what's wrong, like, oh you're right, and that's it, you don't even question it or whatever.
Yeah.
But in this movie, like it's slowly like doctor's like, your kids are perfectly fine, get the fuck out the hospital. It's like, no, they can't mock anymore and he can't eat anymore, but the doctors are like, no, fuck off, and they believe him because the doctors are right all the time.
Yeah.
So the whole like this doctor's like a perfect job. It's like every like foreign parents are usually like, oh, be a doctor. It's like the best job. You get the most money. And
his hands are like what he wants people to see.
yes,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
like him as a perfect
Yes.
person. Or
And I
whatever.
think also like back to that first shot when he takes off the gloves.
He's removing the blood,
yes,
like the dirtiness of his hand,
like,
throwing it away.
He knows he's killed
and now
someone.
His hands are clean.
And yeah, like as soon as he leaves like doctor's office, like nobody knows.
And then like it's just straight to a regular conversation with another guy or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I took it as more of like, you know, this we were talking earlier about how this movie mentions a lot of symbolism and metaphor. I thought it was more like kind of beating him over the head, saying, "Oh, you have such clean hands." And in reality, it's like ironic because it's like, "Oh, your hands are dirty because you killed someone."
You're the one who's like,
and like
who lied.
So when they kept mentioning it, I was like, I get it. He killed someone. His hands are dirty. Like, move on. Like, and then, but I did think it was interesting because there was a scene when he wakes up, Nicole Kidman's character, after he kidnaps Martin, and like you only see his hands, but they're like covered in like blood and like they're like cracked and all that. And then I was like, that's the first time I remember seeing like a full shot of his hands. Like they always talk about his hands, but I don't think they like specifically ever really show
his hands.
Oh, you didn't see them when they were being licked.
I mean,
it was like the inside palm.
Yeah, it wasn't like a straight up like here's a hand.
I only saw
shot
half of the hand because the mouth was on the other part.
Yeah,
but in general, like just seeing the back of the hand and how like messed up it was just like almost like contradictory to what everyone was saying. That was specifically because he had kidnapped Martin.
Yeah,
I think another like theory thing was like in the beginning of the movie, Steven is like 100% control of his life, where he's like borderline robotic with everything he does. Yeah. Where like he does this like blah blah blah, and then like as the movie slowly goes, like he's losing control of everything in his life. Where like his kids don't do what he says anymore, his wife is not doing what he says anymore, and the end of the movie, the decision at the end is him out of his hands. Yeah. He doesn't choose anything. He puts it to randomness, which is the opposite of what his whole life has been built on, which is sturdy stability. At the end, he blindfolds himself because he himself can't do that decision anymore. So he's like a broken man at that point. I think another one was like how like Barry, goddamn it, Martin, where he's like, Steven gives only so much to Martin, but not enough. Like to be equal to him or whatever. Sure. Like the only thing that he gives to Martin are like literal just gifts, like just like a watch and like stuff like that or whatever. But when Martin like actually, sorry, I blanked out for a second. I was like, wait, who's Martin? Martin when actually offers him, hey, this is how you can actually repay me. Be my dad. Yeah. That's when he's like, yeah, no, I'm not that committed to helping you. You know, good on. Like that's when he stops even talking to him.
Like I've got a wife and kids.
Yeah. So like he kind of like that's like kind of like. I don't agree with it, but it's kind of like showing like, oh, he only helped a certain amount, but then once he thought, he was like, nah, I'm not doing it anymore. And he kind of like fucks off and like doesn't care about him anymore ever after that. He stops checking in on him.
But that's the reasonable thing. Cause
that's the other thing. Like that's a reasonable thing. He's like, not gonna abandon his family because he wants a dad or whatever.
The moment it becomes, oh, our friendship is, you think our friendship is developing because I want to be your dad. It's like, no, dude. I feel bad about it, what happened kind of thing. Like it's reasonable and, you know,
I think another thing where it's like Steven thinks he's gonna win in the end because in that world, in any real world, if this hypothetically this is real, right? Yeah, you can be like, this guy is like torturing my family because his dad died in a surgery that I did, but it's not my fault. Everyone's gonna agree with him, not Martin. Yeah, because they're gonna be like, well, doctor, like, why? That's not, he didn't fucking kill him on purpose or whatever, right? Yeah. So he's like, this guy's torturing him. So then like the whole movie, he's kind of like, he has that in his head. Is like, oh, I'm fine. With the whole like, oh, security guards, get the fuck out of here or whatever. But obviously this movie's like more supernatural. With like, no, this is justice or whatever. Like, I am justice. I will fucking kill your family for you.
Yeah, he has that line where like, if you kill me, you're just gonna have 4 more dead bodies.
Now you have all these dead bodies. You have one gun and 4 dead bodies.
Try explaining that.
Yeah, like that's kind of like that turning point where like no longer Steven has the advantage.
I think that's when he has that breakout, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's around the time when he has like that. But it's basically him like just now, like he's fucked. That's when like Steven's just like, I'm at the end or whatever. I think Sam is just completely checked out of this. It's so funny to me. Where he's just like, nah, he doesn't give a fuck.
Well, it's just like, this is one of those movies that once I turned it off, I was just like, I don't really want to think about this anymore. Like, I'm just like, I'm done with this now. Like,
I think for me, it got me enough where I was like, I want to know. Like want more. I don't want more, but I want to know more.
Well, like I was looking at certain like takes on this, and I saw somebody say, oh, after watching this movie I want to watch everything this guy made. And specifically, honestly, I don't think I want to watch anything this guy's made aside from the Lobster, because I know that one's like I've heard that one's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I've seen
But, like-
trailers for that. I enjoyed those trailers. I didn't enjoy the Sacred Deer. I remember watching. I was just like, I don't want to watch this.
But like, if there's a new movie coming out and it's like from the guy that made Killing with a Sacred Deer, I'd be like, all right, that's a movie I'm not watching. Then thank you for letting me know that.
I don't know. I thought it was okay, but I do agree with you. Like, I don't like how it's like it's there's so much left to interpretation.
Yeah, but
I really want to know why these people are going fucking numb.
like I've mentioned before, I'm a huge fan of like Wes Anderson movies, and he's very particular, and he has a lot of his idiosyncrasies, and he's got this weirdness to him. But like for me, those work for me. Like I like the stuff he does in his movies. But this guy, like his particular like quirks or whatever.
Style.
Like I've heard like the dialogue thing is just a general thing for a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
his
just like how
movies.
he kind of.
It's like, oh, you're supposed to pay attention to the words, not how they're saying it. It's like, well, I don't care. that means,
I'm not reading
that is a negative.
movie. I am watching a movie.
Yeah, if I cared about what they were saying, I might as well just have Microsoft Sam read out the script. Like, it's
Or make this shit black and white silent. Fucking show the subtitles and that's it.
like it doesn't work for me
Yeah.
personally. You know. So.
I have like 3 reviews like on the different spectrums or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna see what you think. So this is like I'll let you guess what you think how this person thinks of this movie.
Sure.
Horror in its purest, most distilled form, freed from the shackles of jump scares or exposition. Best, most self-assured performance to date by Barry.
Oh, Barry Keoghan.
Yeah. So this guy's just saying this is the perfect horror movie. No jump scares, no whatever. No. I don't think that at all.
It's not a horror movie.
I don't even think this is horror. Well, then again, it's kind of what is horror?
It's
Whatever.
a thriller.
Like,
it's a
yeah.
suspense. It's
you
not
get,
horror.
it's
not
whoever's
horror.
definition of horror. Obviously, could be different for
This
some
guy's
people.
wrong.
I just don't think. Yeah. I just don't think that's like a horror movie.
Yeah, and I understand like where he's coming at, because I think some movies do over-explain and like get too much into the weeds.
Yeah. They get
But
up their own ass in a
There's
different
such
way.
a thing as
But this one
under-explain.
also goes up their own ass and like the opposite end, where they explain nothing. Like, oh, I get it. You don't get it. You're stupid.
I mean, also like I feel like because we looked up the Greek mythology. Like, if you
Yeah.
have to look that up,
Yeah.
come on.
This is like the second. I didn't read this. I just remember. It's so funny. I just missed this. Hold on. Supremely frightened yet weirdly charismatic creation, which makes even the act of eating spaghetti seem terrifying.
It's like, oh my
I thought that was
God.
so funny
Get
because
over
I
yourself.
forgot about that. I forgot the spaghetti scene was so funny to me because it's like I assume it's the morning.
Yeah.
He's like, I have to go to school. He's like,
Oh,
who the
yeah.
fuck eats spaghetti?
Yeah,
He's like, I have the spaghetti ready when that bitch comes in.
Yeah.
If she doesn't come in, I have my bowl of cereal ready.
Yeah.
So I was like, you're a loser.
It was so weird, but like it wasn't terrifying watching. I mean, it was just goofy. I was like, he's just like hitting the plate as hard as he can, and I'm just like, what are you doing?
I don't know, man. It made me want some spaghetti.
What are you 5? Like, I don't know. And I thought the story was really funny too, because he's like, somebody said that boy eats spaghetti. Just like his dad.
And he's like, but turns out you lied. Everyone eats spaghetti like
It's
that. I'm like,
what?
I'm like, is that why you're killing his family? Because the spaghetti?
Listen,
What? He's like, because he was like, that made me feel worse than when your husband told me my dad died.
and you know
I was
what?
like,
I think that's another one of those metaphors.
Yeah.
and I don't care enough to like look into it and be like, what
was
does
the
that
metaphor?
mean?
spaghetti.
What is the
spaghetti?
Because it's fucking
It
Italiano.
has to be some sort of metaphor. I just can't tell what it would be.
That's the
but-
thing, like the fact that we're like that has to be a metaphor because it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Like, if it's wrong, if we're wrong and it's not a metaphor, then it's dumb. And if we're right, then it's still dumb.
Exactly.
I'll read the other
last
one.
one.
I've already forgot the other one. I already lost it because my eyes can't work. So mysteriously highly metaphoric film, something from the Old Testament, finds the director getting a bit too hung up in his own idiocracies. I think I said that wrong.
Idiosyncrasies.
Yes, you say it now.
Yeah.
Criticized overly precise dialogue, which he felt straitjacket the actors.
Yeah.
Which is, I 100% agree with that part.
Yeah.
But like, again, I think the dialogue makes these actors just, they seem like they're worse than they actually are.
What was the thing he said about before the idiosyncrasies?
Something from the Old Testament.
Yes, that. I don't care about stories like that. Like, that's why I don't like the Odyssey and like other Greek stories or anything from the Bible. Like, I don't
Thanks.
find them that riveting personally.
The
like,
Odysseys from the Bible.
No, he's saying
I'm
in
saying,
general, he's saying,
like Old Testament
Yes.
or old stories. Like, I don't find them that interesting. I just can't get behind them because of like either the way they're written or the subject matter is not interesting to me. So I think that's just another like if you're into those kinds of stories, you know, then yes, this is for you. But I'm not I don't care.
I think it's for me because, like, I mentioned before, like, I'm a Catholic boy. I'm in Catholic school for like almost my whole life or whatever. So like, I've read the Bible like a million times or whatever. I know the whole thing back and forth. No, I don't.
You read the Odyssey in the Bible?
Yeah, I put the Odyssey on top of the Bible. So every time I read one thing, I read the other thing.
Yeah.
But like I love like Greek mythos or whatever. But like the lessons are dumb.
Yeah.
Like, because the lessons are usually just like there's no lesson because the lesson's like you did something wrong. Well, now your whole family died.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess it's maybe it's not like it's made for lessons. Maybe it's just made for like to show certain stuff. Or yeah, maybe I'm too like small brain to like figure that shit out. I do enjoy them, but that doesn't make me enjoy this movie.
You want to know how small brain I am? I don't like Greek like actual myths, but I was really into the Percy Jackson books.
Oh my god!
Like I was like, yeah, this works. Yeah, okay.
I'm shaking my head and Alex is like,
I'm gonna agree with Omar that they're good, but like I enjoy them just for like the story. I don't care what
the story is
like,
interesting. I think
what the lessons are and all that.
Like, and I think they're like unique. Some of them are pretty unique.
Yeah,
like the whole Achilles story. I think it's cool.
Yeah, they're entertaining. Like
a lot of those stories are like interesting or whatever. You can I think it's extremely interesting how many movies actually base a lot of things off Greek things that we don't even like know or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And like I think one of the movies, Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
That's like all like the Odyssey basically.
Yeah.
Just in a different form or whatever. But it's a lot like that. Like so the movies are like they take things from that.
Yeah.
Is that on our list?
I think someone has that.
But
I want to watch that movie.
I've seen parts of it before because I remember George had to. My older brother George, actually, when they were reading the Odyssey, his teacher was like, "Why don't we also watch this movie?"
Yeah, that's what we did too.
So we can get context for it.
We watched the whole movie. I liked it, but I want to watch it on my own. Like,
like without having to study it for school. Yeah. No, but that's what I'd rather see, like recontextualizations of older stories.
And I mean,
instead of, and I guess this is that.
I was about to say this is technically that,
but this
I just think the execution of this.
Yeah. So
I just don't think the execution of this worked.
Should we start wrapping this up, guys?
No. I want to talk all day about this movie. I love this movie.
I knew you loved it. I
love
when I recommended it. I'm like, Omar's not gonna hit it on.
I lied, like the main character Steven. I lied, you guys.
When we showed up to here at the recording studio.
There was a dead deer here. I killed one.
He got into character.
Omar was just like, guys, we gotta record now. Like, I gotta talk.
I was sucking my fingers the whole time. I was like, guys, I killed the deer. It's delicious. Like, come on, let's go. I'm ready. This movie fucking sucks. I hate this movie.
Alex, just pick a better movie.
All right.
No offense, Alex.
It's between me and Omar.
No, it's an Omar movie.
No. Well, no, in this world, not yet.
Oh.
In this world, it's still between us.
In this universe.
In this cold, calculated universe.
It's between you and Omar.
Yes, give me something so I can give you something, aka content.
I should have put off the sound.
Spaghetti. I love spaghetti.
It's a Sam.
Samuel. Well, his last movie was ass, so we're not hopefully.
What was his last movie?
Boondock Saints.
That was a good movie. That's a better movie than this.
You know what? You're right. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Because if you put a gun in my head, I would rather watch Boondock Saints again.
I didn't care for the writing.
There was a firefight.
I still don't like those movies. That's not a compliment.
All right, let's see what movie we're watching.
Let's go.
I literally don't remember any of you guys' list anyway. So
it doesn't matter. That's
I know it's American Pie or whatever. That's the only thinking movie.
It's American Pie.
No, it's not. You're a liar.
It's Ghostbusters.
Hey. Look at me in the eyes.
We're watching Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I've never seen Ghostbusters, so I put it on my list.
A good family-friendly movie.
And there was a Bill Murray movie in this. And Killing Me with Sacred Deer, too.
Really?
Yeah, Martin's favorite movie.
Yeah, Groundhog Day. Yeah, you're right.
When did he say that?
He didn't say it, but he's like, this is my favorite movie.
Yeah,
and then when you watch the movie, it's Groundhog Day. I mean, if you don't know the movie, obviously you're not going to tell.
I haven't seen Groundhog Day.
I didn't know, but I knew what it was.
That's my favorite movie, too.
Really? And you didn't know?
I didn't know.
They showed it. It was right there.
I told you guys.
I'm just like Martin.
I told you guys I woke up at 5 a.m. to watch this.
It should be fresher for you then.
Yeah, he watches Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect segue to Bill Murray and the Ghostbusters.
So keep on busting.
I think we should say that for the next
Keep on busting.
Wait, have you guys seen this movie?
I've never seen it.
No, I haven't.
So okay, I've seen all the Ghostbusters movies.
Oh wow,
because I'm a nerd.
This is the best one, right?
Yes. By a mile.
Okay.
All right.
But now I'm happy. I have joy in my heart for once.
Yeah, we get to watch Ghostbusters 2016 next.
Oh my god.
kill me instead of a deer, please.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you next time. We'll see you with a ghost busting adventure, busting ghosts.
Watch me eat spaghetti.
Now available to own on DVD and video.